When asked about whether or not it was time for the U.S. to elect a woman, most said yes, but were varied as to why.
So do you think it matters more to voters that she's a woman or that she's a person of color?
I don't really care about what color she is. I just care about personality and what she wants to do.
It'd be good for us to have a black woman as president for the first time in history.
Yeah.
But my vote's kind of still on Trump.
I don't think it matters. I think she can be a president like Biden or Obama.
I just feel like boys would probably be better as president, but she's pretty and stuff, but I just don't think a woman would be right for a president. They would be much better of an example for president and more stronger.
Do you think you'd ever make a good president someday?
No.
There's never been a woman president in the history of America. I think that it'd be a good change.
I do love the honesty of the kids, Hilton. I mean, this is something that, just listening to them, they have all these different opinions. Yeah. I mean, what do you think?
I know. What I love about this is kids haven't figured out about cancel culture yet. So, and they also can't be canceled as a child. So, no, I think what we're hearing right now is it's just this pure honesty. But what makes me sad is that parents, you can tell the parents that have really influenced their kids, because most kids, they don't care about skin color. They don't care what you look like, what sex you are. They really just want to put forward a president, if they really know what a president is, that they like, and that was really sweet, and you could tell.
I really try to keep politics out of my neighborhood, and it's interesting because I want to talk about the dog or the kids or the grandkids, and some of our neighbors will not deal with us because of who we are, being Republicans, which I find that to be horrifying. And then I see my kid who came to me one time and said, "Hey, Mom, so-and-so won't come to the house because the parents say that, Dad and you are just horrible people because you support Trump." And I think that's so horrific. I mean, I really try to separate the politics and my life with my kids, because I don't want my kids necessarily to be defined okay, these are the people that are, the parents are associated with Trump.
They're messing with
horrible.
It's an innocence. They're
it's innocence.
They're infiltrating hatred into a young child. And what I think is most horrific about this is a lot of these parents are okay with transing their kids. If their kids decided that they wanted to be a different gender and they wanted to start taking puberty blockers and whatnot, they would be fine with that. And that's not evil. But because you like Trump, then that person's evil.
It's horrible.
But Mercy, didn't you say that you wouldn't want your daughters to date a liberal?
I said marry one. That's a little different.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I don't think they could survive in the Schlapp household if they're liberal. It doesn't mean that we don't have. They don't have liberal.
That might be out of respect for the liberals.
I was
just asking a question.
Yeah, well, I mean, marriage is a little more serious, but they bring their liberal friends to the house. But when you have a parent say, "No, you cannot go there," because their parents are awful people because they support Donald Trump, I would never do that to someone, to say you can't go there because they're awful people because they're supporting Harris. No. I think that's ridiculous. Chris, Uncle Chris, what would you say?
You of course don't want them marrying liberals because they'll be carjackers and drug dealers.
No.
No,
they just don't share our values, but it doesn't mean they can't be friends with my kids.
Racist. Yeah, sure. Well, no, it used to be perfectly ordinary, even not so long ago, that everybody go out drinking together, Democrats and Republicans, and if you worked on Capitol Hill, everybody would play together and date and intermarry. It wasn't considered to be a thing at all.
Right.
But honestly, the Democrat Party has ruined the world. Or at least they're well on their way.
They get called carjackers and murderers and killers. Well, let's be friends.
We're called racist.
We'll be great friends now.
Who's everybody buy their drugs from? Republicans?
Okay.
But the CNN thing did find that it was the Democrat little kids that were creating the polarization, but the Republican kids, they were spouting.
Yeah, we have misinformation.
Which just means they don't read CNN.